Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon. Nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica. Make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad of the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it now help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it now help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it now help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity is strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it now help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk.
Make we talk. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are listening, watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. This is the Make we Talk program with yours truly, Jeffrey T. Standing by to join Wilfred Radigan and Head Boy is going to come on in a time soon. This evening, we're going to speak about Jamaica's election 2025. Jamaica's election watch 2025. Just to let you know that this Sunday, we will be bringing live coverage of, we were told that the unconfirmed report that there will be a mass JLP rally in the heart of Halfway Tree. And we will be bringing that to you live this Sunday on the Make We Talk program. Hopefully the Prime Minister will call the election. And it came out of nationwide news that the Prime Minister will announce the date of the general election this Sunday. And of course, we will be bringing that to you live right here on the Make We Talk program. Let me know if you all can hear me. Can you all hear me clearly? I'm pretty much sure you all can hear me clearly. We're standing by to join my good friend, my two good friends, Wilfred Radigan and Head Boy, to come on the program. We're going to speak about Jamaica's election 2025. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to this program. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk program as we come to you live this evening. I don't know. Hopefully we'll be having walking in divine purpose in the chat. You know, we will be coming to you live this evening. We'll be coming to you live this Sunday evening from in the heart of Halfway Tree, where the date of the general election will be announced. And I'm pretty much sure Jamaicans from all walks of life is anticipating the date of this election. And when the election is called, I pray and hope it's going to be a peaceful election, and Jamaicans will go out and exercise their franchise, exercise their right to vote. Because, as I said on many occasions on this platform here, the soul of Jamaica's democracy relies on we, the Jamaican people. And whether we like it, yes or no, it lies in our two pairs of our hands. And we must be the patriot and the patriarch persons who will stand up for this nation. I hope I make some sense this afternoon as we come on air. This evening we're speaking about, earlier on rather, we were speaking about what is going on in our country, where corruption is the order of the day. Where corruption is the order of the day. And Jamaicans must stand up against the nepotism and cronyism in this country. And people may say that I am debating on the school bus saga. I have to. Because there are some videos circulating on social media this afternoon where these buses, see one here, met in an accident in the heart of Halfway Tree. There it is. And I'm pretty much sure those buses are neither licensed nor insured, because it's owned by the government of Jamaica. Here's another. We also saw one wherein the bus stuck. It could move. Here it is. The bus is too long to go up a curve, to go up to some school, a little steep. And the world-class Minister of Finance, the world-class Minister of Transportation rather, don't realize that these buses are not for Jamaican terrain. But of course, he decided to go out there and to spend $1.4 billion on these buses. So read them live on air. Hold on for me. I can put you on air. Hold on. Go ahead, Garfield.
All right. Let me.
Hold on for me. You come out and chip back in again. Hold on. Go ahead.
I needed to take a run in the north, and I needed a bigger vehicle. And when I went to pick the vehicle up at the rental car place, they didn't have the size vehicle that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So they suggest I go out to the airport. And when I get to the airport was out of vehicle.
Where that was?
Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
What they had was a 15-passenger vehicle.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. I have not driven a vehicle bigger than a pickup truck in the past 20 years. The last time I have driven a 26-foot box truck, that was probably about 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when they put me in that vehicle, Jeffrey, and I was driving out of the parking lot, I literally turned back, reversed the vehicle,
mm-hmm.
and parked it because I was out of my league. Because again, I was out of my league, and I say this to say that you are a driver, but when you bring these buses into Jamaica and they are left-hand drive, right? And you have a driver who is accustomed to driving a public passenger vehicle and a different position of the steering wheel, what do you think will happen? Now, you show that picture of the bus going up the hill. A lot of roads in rural Jamaica, when these roads were being constructed, there were no proper surveying of the roads, Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
They were just roads that them patch and repair and them go through, and hills and valley. You understand? We know that. And this is what people are talking about. You put in these buses are good for the road. But Jeffrey, these buses are only good in the major thoroughfares.
Mm-hmm.
In the major thoroughfares. Carry these buses round Junction Road. You understand? These buses are only good for major thoroughfares to go into major towns with good roads and wide roads. And even in Arbitrary Square, if you take one of these buses, even the big JUTC buses that ply the Arbitrary Puppy, these buses don't even have space. They don't even have space to literally to traverse the corridor. So these are the things that the government of the day need to look into. That is why when they talk about taxes and blah, 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 as the opposition say, train the cab drivers, register the cab drivers, vet the cab drivers so the cab drivers can go into the nook and cranny to bring the student out to the major thoroughfares where they can now jump on these buses to get where they are going.
That's not what the minister wants, Mr. Reed. Jamaica's world-class Minister of Transportation don't want that at all. He said that is over 100 routes that the rural bus services will be occupying. The minister himself went and told some members of the public transport sector, those people who call themselves presidents, that they must have meetings and come back to him and whatever. And they have this big committee where it's just peer presidents and some other people of the VUMVA on the VUMVA of the transport sector. And I
continue, finish your point.
And they sit and have these meetings. And the meetings that they have is not in the interest of the public transport sector. It's the interest of them personal, themselves to further their own nest.
Financial gain.
Yes.
And I'm glad you said that. But let me, I saw the Minister of Transportation is wearing a shirt named Bad Mind. I don't know if you recall the first person. The minister is wearing the shirt says Bad Mind. Are you aware?
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the first person to bad mind Andrew Holness.
Oh yes.
Remember when Bruce Foley gave Andrew Holness the nod? He bad-minded Andrew Holness. You remember that, Remember that,
Mm-hmm.
Because Andrew Holness should not be opposition leader. And that is the time he ran a campaign with Manayard to overthrow Andrew Holness. Remember that,
But no, Daryl. Yes, but no, Daryl and the Prime Minister says bench and chimney.
Exactly. So remember, so the minister was the first person on record to bad mind the Prime Minister, his party leader. And that is why I don't believe the party leader trusts him. For some strange reason.
No,
because
I think not Garfield. I think the party leader trusts Daryl Vaz, trust him that he can send him to Mexico to do certain things for him, And when you look into what is going on in this country, my question to you now, Sir Reed, you believe that a Minister of Transportation could spend $1.4 billion of taxpayers' money, and when you do the investigation, 3 of those new buses, according to him, 2 of them is 2 flatbed chassis. You believe that in another modern democracy there won't be some investigation in this, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you mentioned the flatbed chassis. I remember going to school on South Camp Road, Alpha Primary. And when the buses, the Leland buses, the Joyce buses would come into Jamaica, for some apparent reason, they used to go up South Camp Road. I remember we always stay. I was in grade 5, and we always see the buses coming up with the chassis and the driver, only engine, just the chassis, and we were always fascinated to see it. And then now, they used to fabricate the buses right behind Kingston Technical High School, right down there in Anova Street. In that area, there is a big warehouse. I don't remember the road lane. As a child, we used to walk past there.
Yes.
But that is what they did. They claim that they are bringing in buses, but at the end of the day, chassis. So Is it that they were trying to build these buses in Jamaica, fabricate these buses into Jamaica? That is why they show us a bare engine and a chassis.
No. I think they're bringing the chassis for water truck. The drought is in Jamaica, and they make a lot of money out of water trucks,
Well, I if you hear the goodly water minister, the water boss, they call him Matty Samoda, he claimed that the government has seized and the leakage.
Hold on for me. You can't hear me at all, Mr. Rattigan?
Can't hear you.
I'm hearing you loud and clear from Negril Point to Waterhouse. So you can't hear me, and I'm hearing you.
We can't hear you.
I don't know what's going on with you. Something is wrong with you.
Hold on. Look at it. We can't hear you.
Audio testing. Head boy, you hearing us? We're hearing Mr. Rattigan, but they're probably not hearing nobody. Sir Garfield, give me 2 minutes and wrap up now because we have to start the program.
Yeah, man, I know I have to start the program, but the fact of the matter is that
I am hearing you.
Let us use the buses for its rightful purpose. Let us use the taxi drivers and the small vehicles for its soulful purposes and keep the buses on the major thoroughfare. Have the cab drivers be the feeder to the buses, because it wouldn't make any sense you put these buses into rural community where it cannot traverse the space. That doesn't make any sense. As a total waste of taxpayer money. And remember, diesel is expensive, repair is expensive, and make sure the government of the day should have competent people on the road, on the job, in the spaces to repair these buses, because these buses is going to need a lot of repairs. Always remember that, because remember, these are buses that are coming out of the northeast. When they talk about salt, was these buses undercoating done? We don't know, but the minister claimed it was inspected by the U.S. Department of Transportation, which is a big lie. As I always say, the U.S. Department of Transportation don't inspect buses; they inspect bridges, build bridges, roads, and signs, and maintenance of the major thoroughfares. So these are. Then lastly, I said the minister said one of the buses, he showed one of the smaller ones with a sticker 2025 that was inspected in Pennsylvania. That inspection sticker is only for emission testing. That's it. Nothing else.
Yes.
And when you go to these inspection station in the northeast, nobody jump in the buses, nobody drive the buses on a ramp and inspect the buses and give you 100-point inspection. So the minister, but last thing, I don't know if people are aware of this. When Carl Samuda was the Minister of Commerce, if you can recall, they started to state that if you're bringing a used vehicle into Jamaica, it must be inspected. People need to go back and look who are the contractors who are doing these inspections. Even today, if you buy a brand new truck, a brand new car, you go to the dealer and you buy a brand new car and you put it on a tow truck, they tell us they need inspection. I'm coming to Jamaica at the trade board.
All right, my friend.
All right, my boss. I'll be listening.
Man. Cool. I don't know what's going on, Mr. Rattigan, but we're hearing him loud and clear, head boy.
Yeah, just let Ratty come back in, because I just think that it would have been there from the other day. The thing has been unstable. I have never seen the thing so unstable before.
It's coming from his end, not from me.
Let
me call him and tell him that he needs to turn off his music. His phone is busy now.
Anyway, Jeffrey, do you want? Okay.
Go ahead, head boy. You can't make a deal with this.
Right. I was wondering if you had if you wanted to cue one of the videos in the meantime.
Let's continue talking. Rattigan is trying to get Kevin to talk to me now. Hold on.
Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, tonight's program we will be diving into the expected election. Ratty will be giving us some update from what is expected in an election in terms of the representation of the People's Act, which is ROPA, and the role of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica in relation to this. I see. Ratty, can you hear us now?
Continue talking, head boy.
Okay, so we will dive in the representation of the People's Act, and we should see
No.
we should yes, Ratty, can you hear us now? Well, so ladies and gentlemen, whilst we try to connect with Ratigan, the the thrust of tonight is to just give you a little exposure of what entails with naming the date, nomination, election day, and what entails the whole procedures around that, and why if, with that, we will also get your input to say which day you think would be election day. Let us have a discussion around that. And previously, we'll look at some of the elections and how the style of leaders in calling those elections and what the results were when those elections were called as well. We say to you, buckle up, like the live, share the live, and as we delve into elections, it's a sprint, and we know for sure that it is going to be an election to watch. Everybody have a horse in the game that they're backing, and they want to see that horse is a winner. And so we are waiting to see what will be entailed in these elections. There will be a lot of surprises in this election. There will be a lot of upsets in this election, and definitely there will be somebody will cry and somebody will rejoice. But as it pertains to elections, we understand the history of elections in Jamaica. In 1944, Jamaica attained adult suffrage, which meant that most persons now had the right to vote. At the time, it was 21. And so, if you were 21 years old, you had the right to vote. And the first contested election was run after adult suffrage, which saw the Right Honorable Sir Alexander Bustamante being elected as then Premier of Jamaica. We had that period of 1945 to 1949, 1945 to 1950, where Bustamante ruled Jamaica. And then he ran again in the elections of 55 and won. Of 1950 and won. And then when the elections of 54 was called, Norman Manley was the winner. So let me repeat that again, because I somehow tied up myself a while ago. So in 1945, the first election was won by Bustamante, and after that election was won by Bustamante, the other election was 1950, which he won again, getting his second term as premier. In 1955, in 1955, Norman Manley defeated him, and the referendum around in the late 60s to determine whether or not Jamaica should go independent. So that is in a nutshell, the early introduction of active adult suffrage election. Before that, in Jamaica, if you never owned land and owned property, you could not participate in the elections. So adult suffrage gave the right to persons now to participate in elections. Jeffrey?
Yes. Working on
I
Mr.
was-
Rattigan thing in the background. Guess here, head boy. What do you want to play this video here now? This one here?
Yes, so I just was sharing with you.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that I was just giving them a rundown of the first contested elections in Jamaica. Remember, before 1944, we never had any we had adult suffrage. The first contested election, let me bring it up here, was in 1945. Yes. The Sir Alexander Bustamante JLP was successful, correct? So we had those elections, yeah, and in the history of the elections, we then had the 1950 election, which Bustamante then won. Yeah. Sorry, Jeffrey.
Yes,
Jeffrey,
yes, I'm hearing it. Go ahead. Yes.
let me make a correction here. One thing with me, if I make a mistake, I'll say I made a mistake. It was 1944. That was the first election of December 14. Yes,
Right. That's,
1944, not 19.
that,
Yeah.
that is by Sir Alexander Bustamante, eh?
Yes, and then in
Right.
1949 and December 20, he called election again and he won that. Yeah. In 1955, Sir Norman Manley defeated him. And in 1959 again, Norman Manley won his second stint as premier. And in 1962, because of the referendum whether we should have gone federation or independent, Norman Manley was defeated in that 1962 election by Alexander Bustamante, who by then had become very frail. Yeah. So at that time, it was actually Donald Sangster in after 63 that was really running the country. Yeah. Then we had 1967 elections, which was won by Ushera after Sir Donald Sangster died. And then we had 72 Michael Manley and onward. So we would have known after Michael, then Siaga, then PJ, and back to Bruce Golding, Portia, and back now to Andrew Holness. Yes. So we have had if I count correct, I think we have had 18 elections. I need to double check, but we should have had about 18 elections if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Well, I think so. You want to play this video here now?
Go right ahead, Jeffrey.
Here we go. Let's play this video here now with the young Andrew Michael Holness. Here we go.
Election day will be the 29th of December.
That is when Andrew called election and forced him to call election. Let's go again. Listen to all of it.
Election day will be the 29th of December.
This was the date Jamaica was waiting for. It was the date Jamaica Labour Party leader Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave on December 4 at a mass rally in Mandeville, Manchester, and the large crowd lapped it up. An avalanche of green and an air of anticipation marked the day's events, which saw large crowds gathering from early in the day. The rally, which was set in the constituency of Manchester Central, a seat earmarked as a battleground between the PNP's Peter Bunting and the JLP's Danville Walker, was not without its incidents. Among the joyous atmosphere were frequent fainting spells which saw people having to seek medical attention. Several officials from the JLP appealed to Jamaica to vote Labour as they lashed the PNP.
In South Manchester, Colin Virgo is ready to retire Michael Pitt because Michael tired and want a little rest. In Northwest Manchester, Timothy Scarlett is going to take care of little baby Peter Phillips. We're going to send him back to town to his daddy. And when it comes to the little one from Central Manchester, you know who me talk. Him so bright. Him say I'm going to sue man a yard. And him call upon Manayard to resign. And I said to him, I'm going to make Danville walk up for him.
And at 8:01, when Prime Minister Andrew Holness approached the microphone, he compared his government's performance with that of the PNP before making the announcement everyone had come to hear.
Coming in the new year, we're going to stop running around, running from what we need to do. As a people, we're going to be brave. We have brave leadership. We have true leadership. We have honest leadership. Let us work together. Let us cooperate and do it once and for all. Once and for all. There's no need to worry. The things that we are going to do will be to the benefit of the Jamaican people. I beg you, people. I beg you. Don't worry. Don't worry about a thing. Because every little thing gonna be alright. Interest rate, exchange rate, and inflation rate. They couldn't get it. It took us 4 years and we have had it. We have had that stability now for 2 years. 2 years we have had a stable economy. We have now set the stage for growth and development. We have come so far. We have worked so hard in such a short time. We cannot turn back that now.
There you have it. That was then Prime Minister Andrew Holness calling the election. Mr. Rattigan, are you there with us?
Soon join us.
Okay, thank you. Head boy, go ahead.
Right. You know, I saw your good friend Jeffrey Manayard when Manayard was in his high days.
Yes. That was Manayard then.
And every seat Manayard called that they would have won, they lost them.
Yes.
with the exception of his seat. So I would love to see what would happen. So that is in a nutshell. We understood the issue. We know that he lost that election. So it will be an interesting take. Mandeville, I think he felt he had the crowd because at that time a lot of people trick Andrew Holness. Remember, a lot of money was being going around that time, you know. The amount of t-shirts I saw on the road from when that meeting was held in Mandeville, coming from Mandeville straight into Kingston. Yeah, green t-shirts just dashed along the side of the road. And that said to me then that Andrew Holness was seriously in trouble. Yeah, and that the JLP itself, understanding that they do this debacle, the man at Phelps issues at that time, Bruce Golding had resigned. So understanding those political backdrop, you then understand it would have been difficult for Andrew Holness to even have convinced the Jamaican people to vote for the Labour Party. And I think they find themselves in the same position now. They have found themselves in a similar position or even worse. So it is interesting when you look back at these videos and to see what happened during that time. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yes. Do you want to play Jamaica opposition win landslide victory now?
Yes. Let me look on the landslide as we go up and give the people the story of the elections. Calling of
If you're just joining us, welcome to our program. Oh, welcome to Walking in Divine Purpose. She is in the chat room. Welcome.
Welcome, Walking Divine. Welcome, sis.
And I just want to say to everyone on the platform here that our topic for this evening is Election Watch 2025. This evening we have with us Wilfred Rattigan, the person who hosts the Rattigan program. We also have political analyst, Sir Head Boy, who is on the program here with us this evening. And I'm pretty much sure we're going to have our good friend Garfield Reed calling in back pretty soon pertaining to what is going on and what we're speaking about. But now we're gonna play this video here. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We're gonna play this video here where it was a landslide victory for the People's National Party, and Portia Simpson Miller. Here we go.
She was Jamaica's first ever woman Prime Minister in 2006. Now Portia Simpson Miller is set to hold the post again after her opposition party won a landslide election victory. In a poll held a year earlier than originally scheduled, she and the PNP rode a wave of discontent with the Caribbean country's economy. The challenge now is to reinvigorate Jamaica. The former British colony has become one of the most indebted nations in the world. Despite forecasts of a close race, current Premier Andrew Holness described his Jamaica Labour Party's defeat as humbling. He only took office in October after his predecessor quit. While the island has a past reputation for political bloodletting and vote tampering, there were no reports of serious irregularities or violence on polling day.
Monday CRM has the best AI features in the game,
especially in sales.
hands down.
So for me, email composition works like.
She was Jamaica's first ever woman Prime Minister in 2006. Now Portia Simpson Miller is set to hold the post again after her opposition party won a landslide election victory. In a poll held a year earlier than originally scheduled, she and the PNP rode a wave of discontent with the Caribbean country's economy. The challenge now is to reinvigorate Jamaica. The former British colony has become one of the most indebted nations in the world. Despite forecasts of a close race, current Premier Andrew Holness described his Jamaica Labour Party's defeat as humbling. He only took office in October after his predecessor quit. While the island has a past reputation for political bloodletting and vote tampering, there were no reports of serious irregularities or violence on polling day.
There you have it. The People's National Party won that landslide victory. On the platform this evening, we have Mr. Wilfred Rattigan. He is the host of Come Visit with Rattigan. We also have Head Boy, political analyst. So just to let everyone know that Mr. Rattigan is on with us. Go ahead for me, Head Boy.
Right. So if we remember that this victory in 2011 by Portia Simpson Miller, she won by 42 to 21 seats, which was a landslide victory. Many giants were slain in that 2011 election, such as giants like Clive Mullins, giants like Bobby Montague. Yeah. They lost their seats. Giants, I want to remind people of those giants that were giants like, if we go back into the same St. James, giant like Eli Clark was defeated by then Lloyd B. Smith. Arnaldo Brown won East Central St. Catherine, sorry. So many PNP had a good year that year. They won even West Rural St. Andrew with Paul Buck. So I somehow feel that this election is feeling like 2011, and I am seeing a similar feel on the ground as it would relate to 2011, and so I should expect a similar margin or even wider. But I am more inclined to say I will expect somewhere between 41 to 43 seats. I've always been saying that. I've never changed my number. So it will be an interesting watch to see if the PNP could repeat this feat again.
Well, in other words, what you're saying that you're smelling a landslide victory for the PNP back like in 2011.
It is possible if the PNP is mobilized, like how it was mobilized in 2011. One has to understand the ability of Portia to garner the support of the people, and I see some similarities with how people are warming up to Mark Golan. It's similarly of how it was in 2011. Everywhere Portia went, the road was just, I would never come, and any day in terms of popularity, one could never compare Mark Golan to Portia, and that's just a statement of fact. But what I see is some similarities in how the people are warming up to him, in terms of being willing to welcome him. So it is going to be an interesting one to watch. There are going to be a lot of surprises in this election, and I think surprises will come on both sides as well. So I am sitting and watching.
Mr. Rattigan, you ready for us, sir?
Always.
Yeah, we're not seeing your tour. We're only seeing your logo, Rattigan.
No, that's not a logo, sir. That's a family crest.
Oh, sorry. Yes. We're only seeing that, sir. I'm pretty much sure the ladies want to see your voice. You want to see your face and hear the voice. This is the rebel.
Correct. All right. Simiano.
We're listening, watching from around the world in the Eastern Caribbean. There we go. That's Wilfred Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Bless up yourself, head boy. Pick up everybody.
Welcome, the rebel. By the way, the rebel, I have to tell you, every time I see that picture in the background there, I want to tell you, say, man, remember my good old days in a Painland. Yeah, man. Right at Tiger Valley there. Right at Haile Selassie Drive,
Mr. Selassie.
Yeah, man. Miss Barnett was the principal there. Yeah. I want to big up all of the people them from Painland and Mackay Lane and Escute Avenue, Howard Avenue, Mongoose Town. Yeah, man. Oakland Road, Philly Place.
Don't forget where you come from.
Never.
Mr. Rattigan, before we get into the program, sir, you have anything to say to your Jamaican people as election is around the corner? It is rumored that the Prime Minister will be having a mass meeting in halfway tree on Sunday, and he may call the election come Sunday. What is your take on that? What do you think that Jamaicans are ready for this election, sir?
Yeah, I think Jamaicans are quite ready for this. I mean, they're fed up with the way the country has been governed. I mean, the first term, you get people gave them.
Mr. Rattigan.
You can't hear me.
Go ahead. Yes, much better. Yeah.
No, I was saying that for the first term, people gave him a blight and say, okay, fine, the JLP had been out of power for quite some time, and so it's going to take a little while to get up to speed. But he promised that most of the things listed in the manifesto would be completed within 5 years. He said that was their plan. But things have gotten progressively worse, and so I think it's safe to say that Jamaicans are looking forward to it. In fact, you know what? They're tired of waiting, and I'm hearing the clamoring for him to just call the election, get it over with, because the country right now is on pins and needles. And we shouldn't forget, I was going through Europa today, we shouldn't forget that there have been hundreds of pipe bombs found in Jamaica, plus over 1,000 sticks of dynamite. And that can only mean trouble for Jamaica. So I'm just hoping and praying that nothing is going to happen, because as you know, Mr. Tavares, under Roper, the Prime Minister, if there is something like this, a riot or something of that nature, can ask the Governor General to suspend the election. And we don't want that to happen. So we're looking for a peaceful, free, fair election. And it can't come any sooner.
Do you think that the government should call in observers for this election, like the Carter Center, sir?
Yeah, because they but look, they have, and as we heard from Janet Calder 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, there are civil society groups in Jamaica that have this as a mandate, oversight of elections. But I still say call in the Carter Center. Why? Because we've had instances of vote buying and vote irregularities. And so it really would do well, and it would speak well to have an international body come in and exert some oversight over the election. The problem is that the government has to be the one issuing the invitation for them to come.
Mhm.
And if that doesn't happen, then the opposition, I would suggest, should get civil society on board, draft a letter, and request them to come, and also send a copy of the letter to the government and see where we go from there. But
Mhm.
that's where we are.
Is there any legal thing about the Prime Minister being on the ballot? In other words, majority of Jamaicans in the diaspora, and even Jamaica is saying that he should not be on the ballot. Is there anything in the Constitution or in the legal framework of our country that he should not be on the ballot, sir?
No, not to the best of my knowledge. And just keep in mind that the Prime Minister has not been found guilty of anything, if that's what people are referring to. And as you know, for criminal law purposes, you're innocent until proven guilty. Same for civil, but the standard of proof is much higher in a criminal case because you're talking about taking someone's liberty, their freedom, not talking about taking away property or money or a house or something. So I've heard the call for him not to be on the ballot, but I think it's that's going to be a personal decision. Say, look, there's enough out there that my reputation has been tarnished, and therefore it doesn't bode well for me as a leader. And the right thing for me to do is step aside, clear my name, and then return. That's a personal decision that he will have.
Head boy, welcome back in. We want Mr. Arthur to go into the Roper report about Jamaicans vote and so forth. Head boy, I want to continue with something before we do that.
No, what I would suggest is just to buttress what Ratty had said, that the opposition should in fact write to the government indicating that they want observers such as the Carter Center to come. But I would go even further than that. In Jamaica is a signatory to the OAS, the Organization of American States, and within the framework of the Organization of American States, there are provisions that we signed on to which allow for observers from the OAS to come. There's also provisions that allow observers from CARICOM to come. And there is no government, no prime minister can stop them from coming because we signed on to those conventions relating to elections in CARICOM and elections as they're governed in the OAS.
So
If
let
you
me ask this
look,
question though. Can individuals in the country, like civil society, invite those people in, or it has to be done by the government?
no, quite frankly, there's no need for invitation. As Rattigan is suggesting, what the opposition should do is they will come, but we have to. If there's no invitation extended to them, if there's not a level of seriousness, you might not get the amount that you need. But typically, there are some teams from the OS that just come without invitation because there is a framework which allows them to come into Jamaica. But remember, because of the diplomatic rules, it would require an engagement of governments to go to the organization. Yeah, so that is where it gets very tricky. And I think that's what Rattigan was pointing out in terms of what the opposition would have to do. So the opposition would have to trigger the conversation now, address a letter to the Prime Minister, CC the Secretary General of the OAS, CC, oh well, Andrew Holness is the president of CARICOM, but CC the CARICOM subcommittee on elections and then request that those individuals be allowed to enter Jamaica. Just an interesting statement of fact to your listeners that in Venezuela, even though people were saying the Venezuelan elections were rigged, international observers were allowed into Venezuela. International observers observed Venezuela elections, and international observers were able to report as to what happened in Venezuela. So look at it. Even though there is dispute about the Venezuelan elections, they allowed international observers in, and they were allowed to say what they saw. So we're saying in like manner, observers should be allowed in to observe the elections, because we know there's a tendency of the JLP of late to go into areas and try to intimidate and buy votes. With that, I yield, Jeffrey.
Yes. Well, let us see if the opposition will take up what we're saying. And other Jamaicans are saying that they should call in the Carter Center to come and observe the 2025 general election. I know there's a civil group in Jamaica. What's the name of that group again? That watch over elections again. Cafe?
Cafe, yes. And they're
Yes.
asking for volunteers right now. They're
They
seeking
are.
500 volunteers, yes.
But let's hope and pray they get the 500 volunteers that they need. Head boy, you want us to play the other video until Mr. Rattigan is ready for us?
Yes, man. Let's play the other video and then we're going to rope when Rat is ready.
Okay. Let's go back to this and stop this here. Oh, You're just joining us. We're speaking about election 2025. The Prime Minister is about to call the election, and we're standing by to hear when he's going to call the election. We're being told that this Sunday going to be a mass meeting in the heart of Halfway Tree. Let's go to Portia Simpson declare February 25 as election day in Jamaica. Let's go here.
Comrades, time come to sound the trumpet. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to step up the progress? If it is a mountain, we have climbed it. If it is a river, we have crossed it. If it is a test, we have passed it. If it is a race, we have won it. And now that I am calling it, we will win it. I've written to the Governor General and advised him to proclaim Friday the 5th day of February 2016 as the day to dissolve the current parliament. I have also advised the Governor General that nomination day for candidates offering themselves for the parliamentary elections will be Tuesday, the 9th day of February 2016.
Comrades, undecided voters, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Time to start your engine.
They have been calling for elections for a long time now. Them get it now, and them gonna get a whipping at the polls, at the polls, at the polls. General elections will be held on the 25th day of February 2016.
There you go. We won't go any further. That was Portia Simpson Miller on February 25th on declaring election in Jamaica. Mr. Rattigan, welcome back to the program, sir. Head boy, you there with us?
Yes, I'm here, Jeffrey. I'm here.
Yes. Do you have a comment on this? Because what we're going to ask Mr. Rattigan to do is to explain to the Jamaican people about the right to vote in Jamaica, who can vote and so forth.
No, well, the only comment would be in relation to the time. If you remember, the election day was called. Portia had a mass meeting in Halfway Tree on the 31st of January. Yeah, that was a Sunday. When she declared the election, and nomination day would have been the 9th, which would have been about 7 days. Yes, and within the span of that day, of nomination day, there was a span of 14 days to the election day. And I think Ratty will go into that. But that is why we show these videos, because we wanted people to see see how all elections so far from 2011 that have been called along a particular line. Yeah. So I'll yield to Ratty now and that.
Mr. Rattigan?
Yeah. The first thing to note is that, you know, Portia Simpson mentioned that she had asked the Governor General to proclaim the date, and legally that's the way it is. That the Governor General.
Hold on to me. Fireman, mute your mic for me now, please. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
Yeah, the Governor General plays a central role in Jamaican political life. And you see another example of it here, even though he's representing the crown, the king. And, well, all of you know the rest of the story. But essentially, to vote in the Jamaican elections, you must be 18 years or older and reside in Jamaica at the time of registration. What's interesting is that Commonwealth citizens, people from other countries who live in other countries, other Commonwealth countries, they too can vote in Jamaican elections. If they're 18 years or older and they live in Jamaica and they've lived in Jamaica for more than a year, they can vote. Interesting thing is, if you live in the diaspora, there's a question as to whether or not you can or should vote. And we'll get into that a little bit. But they said there are certain steps that you need to follow to establish residency in Jamaica. One is you must visit a constituency office, go to the Electoral Commission office corresponding to your intended constituency. You must fill out a registration card. There must be residence verification, and scrutineers from both parties will visit the address that you've provided to ensure that, or to confirm your residence. And they said the registration is not complete until the verification takes place. And then after that, they process your application and they issue you an ID. Now, the question is, what is the meaning of normally resident? Because they said your residence is the place where you primarily live and consider home. And I've been making this argument for a number of years now, that if you live overseas, and I know people from overseas are going to vote, and I'm saying that's fine. If they'll allow you to vote in Jamaica, that's fine, not a problem. I know if I show up to vote, Jeffrey, they're going to arrest me. I just know it, because they're going to say you don't live here. This is not your place of residence, because they also describe, in the ROPA, they describe the place of residence as where you spend most of your time. Essentially, you spend most of your time. So, for those of you who are going home to vote, do so. That is what in fact, the former ambassador, Audrey Marks, she encouraged people to go home and vote. So who am I to tell you not to go and vote? Go home and vote. If they'll allow you to vote, go home and vote. But I just want you to be aware of the requirements, that they have to verify that the address, you're going home to vote in a constituency, and the address that you have provided, there should be proof that they have to verify that you're actually living there. So
Let me ask you a question, Mr.
Oh, hold on
Ratty.
1 second. Hold on. G.A. Farmer said, what if you were registered before but migrated? Can you still vote? Every 6 months, and I don't know where I do the notes. Every 6 months, the every 6 months, the 6 months interval or a period determined by the minister, they have to go to update the official list of electors. So they're supposed to go to the house that you gave them before you left, migrated. Every 6 months or so, they're supposed to go to say, is this person still living here? And that's how they can determine or verify your residence. So if you move, if you moved, let's say you left in January and they go in June or so, and people say, they ask, is Mr. X living here? No, Mr. X moved to the States permanently. They're supposed to remove you from the list because you're no longer living there. But I don't think that's happening.
But currently, not to cut you, Ratty, but currently that's not the practice that is being done. And I'll tell you why it is not being done. For re-verification exercises of the EOJ require funding. And when you go further in the legislation, you'll realize that the government ought to, in fact, provide the funding for a continuous re-verification. But typically what happens, like in Jamaica, we don't spend any money on re-verification. Because what is happening? Go ahead, Ratty.
Where does that money go?
Because in the budget of the EOJ, there is a budget for a re-verification. Yes,
but if they're not doing re-verification, because the law says, and I'll pull it up in a second. It's the law says that let me see, it's 7. Let me read it to you. Hold on 1 second. 7. And I understand what you're saying, that the money is there, but they're not doing it. All right. It says here it is. It says 1 second. All right. So it says the chief electoral officer. This is section 7, subsection 1 of the Representation of the People Act. It says the chief electoral officer shall, every 6 months or at such other intervals as the minister may, on the advice of the committee, from time to time, prescribe and in accordance with the rules set out in the first schedule, prepare an official list of electors in respect of every polling division and forthwith publish such list in the prescribed manner. So what that says is that every 6 months, unless the minister comes up with a different period, but every 6 months, the chief electoral officer is responsible for sending out people to double check to make sure that they have an accurate list of electors.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Rattigan. If a Jamaican citizen, a Jamaican who's an American citizen, go to Jamaica to vote, and say they come back up and they question them about what they went to Jamaica for, and they say they went down to vote, is there some ramification towards that?
No. If you say if you come back, you're talking about immigration ramification now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see any. If you come back and you say, well, I went to vote, remember now that Jamaica recognizes dual citizenship. The US, depending on the circumstances, they do and they don't. But if you say I went back and I exercised my franchise to vote in a Jamaican election because I am a Jamaican citizen still, there shouldn't be any problems with that. But here's the thing, and going back to what Head Boy said, there is a difference. There's a difference between what the law says and what the convention is, what the practice is. What I'm saying, people, don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is that the law says that every 6 months or so, they're supposed to update that list, meaning that they're supposed to go back and check to see if you live where you say you live. And if they get reports that you don't live there, you've moved and you're living elsewhere, you're living in the United States, and you're not coming back, it's a permanent, you get a green card, then you're supposed to be stricken from the road. That's all I'm saying. So, but they don't, like Head Boy said, they don't do it. And if it's not being done, the question is, where is the money?
Because also to Ratty, once your name is on that list, like the May 31st list, which was published the other day, right? The May 31st list, which was published the other day. Once your name comes back on that list, even if you are not living in Jamaica, there is no one in Jamaica, no law, no police, no one that can prevent you to vote. Once your name comes on that list and
True.
you're on the list, you can vote. Nothing stops you, nothing prevents you from voting.
Let me just, I'm reading the chat and there's a person by the name of Time Come. Time Come, I think you don't understand what I'm saying. You don't. And you need to pay careful attention. All I'm saying is that, and you can go read it for yourself, Time Come. All I'm saying is that the law says, Section 7, Representation of the People Act, that every 6 months they're supposed to update it. And further on, it goes on to say, if you're not living where you say you're living, if they go to the house and they say you're not there, then you have to be stricken, because you're not. In order to vote in a Jamaican election, not only must you be a citizen or a Commonwealth citizen, but you must also be a resident.
Yes.
Right.
We also have with us join us this Conrad O'Brien. Conrad, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Right here.
Good evening, Conrad.
Hi, head boy, how you doing? And listeners and viewers, good evening. What happened? You're on point as it relates to the 6-month scenario that you're talking about. But as Ed Boy says, that regular re-verification in terms of house to house with the EOJ send people out there to do that and to check whether or not Tom Stroke is still living there and so on. That's not happening. What has happened is that there's a system now that is called the ongoing registration process. So every time, so even now, as it is, rather than somebody come to your house, like in the past when they would come and say who lives here, in order to put you on the voters list. That's not what obtains anymore. You now approach the electoral office in your particular local. You go and you register yourself, right? But what they do, the level of verification that they are carrying out now is to come, so a scrutineer from either political party basically attend up on the resident of address that you give them in order to verify as to whether or not that's a bona fide address that you put there. So it's a level of safeguarding. But even that in itself sometimes happen with some level, and I will have to say some level of corruption or sort of collusion with scrutineers, and that would have to come in by way of maybe one scrutineer or the other being paid off, and it is something that is very important. Take for example, you have an address mark number 10, right? Number 10. So it's just a space there. Number 10 ward close. So you have 50, 60 people register in one address, and is 1 2-bedroom or one bedroom house is there. So how will that happen? And that is one of the things that I won't call a constituency, but a particular constituency in St. Anne. It has been flagged by some people to say that that's a part of the hanky-panky that had carried on there for some amount of years. Now, in order to get rid of a situation like that, if the verification every 6 months, where the EOJ basically send out their operatives there, along with the JLP and PNP scrutineer, because those are the two parties in the main, right? We would be able to ease that. And also, as Ed Boy correctly stated, once you are on the name appear on the voters list, it doesn't matter how long you live abroad. And persons who vote every year in Jamaica, every election in Jamaica, certainly it would send a signal to the EOJ that you're somewhat active in Jamaica, so they wouldn't be looking for you. So your name would automatically reappear on the list, even though you are no longer residing in Jamaica. But people can also safeguard against them being removing by attend up on the island on a regular basis to ensure their frequent visit to the island. So those are some of the things that are going on. Mm-hmm.
Ask a question. Do you know if Section 7 of ROPA was amended?
That is the section that talk about the 6 months verification.
Yes.
No, not to my knowledge, and that's a gray area there because, as I said, that is almost like there is this automatic registration that basically override that. Because what happened, Ratty? Here the thing, you could really go in now. So the election is supposed to announce on Saturday coming. The election, we all say it will be held by the 3rd of September. No, although you could go in tomorrow and register, but you would not be able to vote because what they're doing now is to publish the voters list at various interval. But there is another layer that they put in place there. So I don't know if that suffices, because what they do is allow both political party to have a look at the list that is there. So they give them a lead time so they can look at it, and either political party could question it. So if they say something that I just talked about, where a number of people live at one address that basically send a flag, then they could really flag that and some level of investigation could carry out. That was a similar situation, not by way of number, but it was a similar situation that the candidate for the PNP in Northeast St. Anne, Dr. Simpson, raised when Matthew Samuda attempt to get himself on as a voter in Northeast St. Anne. I don't know how that situation processed, but I certainly interviewed Dr. Simpson on it, and he raised that flag because there was no way that that based on the criteria that Matthew could be deemed as a resident in the constituency. Yes.
But my question though, what Rattigan asked a while ago, Mr. Rattigan asked a while ago, if they have not amended that means that there's a problem there then.
As I said, I would not be able to speak sufficiently intelligent on that situation because I am not sure as to whether or not there was an amendment to the ROPA to basically, move away from the mandatory 6 months re-verification where you'd really go in and clean the list. What ROPA says is that they carried out a cleaning of the list, as it were. But for some time now, and even Glasspole Brown admit that what happened, the low turnout that we may be talking about in Jamaica, that we are seeing where a 25%, 30% voter turnout, they are saying that could be very well be an anomaly, because what you have is a voters list that is not clean. So in other words, you have a lot of dead people who are still on the list and so on. So we don't have a real clean list in Jamaica. So we are not giving an accurate figure as to the true turnout an election, because we could have a voters list that say, listen, we have 1.8 million people on it, but 200,000 out of that amount could have now be dead, or certainly not living in Jamaica, not ordinary reside in Jamaica anymore.
I could give you this a little statistics here. From the Jamaica Observer, dated at May 4th, which was this year actually, 2025, and it's entitled "Over 278,000 dead voters are no longer on the national list." And
good, so that cleaning took place there. Mm-hmm.
And this was seen in the ECJ's annual report of 2023 to 2024. There was about 8,659 names removed from the November 2023 voters list, while 22,094 names were added, and an additional 4,331 electors were also removed from the May voters list for 2023, which was released 6 months prior. But I want to make a point here that, and I'll say it, it is, when we talk about elections, I am not quick to support this thing, to say this thing about persons who live in the diaspora, that you must enforce this residency on them. And I'll tell you why. If it is that you are still taking part, as Conrad said.
Hold on there for my head, boys. Try remember what you're going to say, please. Try remember what you're going to say. This Roper thing has me thinking. Mr. Rattigan, can you read the section that we think is not amended?
Well, I can tell you that it was not amended. It's still good law. I'm looking at it right now. In fact, it was amended to read the way I just read it. The 6-month period, it was amended in, when it was amended
in 2017.
No, that's a different section. They've amended it over the years, different sections. But this particular section 7, was amended in 1996. And here it is. It says right here. That's why I'm telling people that you may have convention where people just do things a certain way. You may have a policy, but I'm reading the law. And look, I'm coming to you from a legal perspective. I'm just telling you what the law says. It says the chief electoral officer shall every 6 months or at such other intervals as the minister may, on the advice of the committee, from time to time, prescribe and in accordance with the rules set out in the first schedule, prepare an official list of electors in respect of every polling division, and forthwith publish such list in the prescribed manner. So what they're saying is that every 6 months, people have to go out, pound the pavement, find out who lives where, find out who dead, who fly out, and then they publish a new list. This is good law.
Yeah, it is remember, Narati, Jamaica has been voted in terms of recognition in the Caribbean as having one of the best electoral law. Now, in relation to the 6 months thing, why it is not enforced, similarly to what Conrad was saying, is if what we're having now in Jamaica is a process of what they call just re-verification. And when I say re-verification, it is done in this way. So every March 31st, you have the deadline for registration for the May 31st list. Then you have September the 30th, deadline for November the 30th list. What typically entails in between those lists being published, the parties sit down. So the JLP will sit down with its divisional workers. They go through PD by PD. If Mass Joe with him 1 foot did dead last year, when the verification when it comes back down on the list and they know Mr. Joe, Mass Joe dead, they write dead by him, and their liaison or scrutineer with the EOJ would then raise that with the EOJ in the prelim, because there's prelim list, before the list in May 31st. There's a prelim list that comes out around the ending of April, early May, for them to send it back to them to say these are the objections we have. Ratty don't live down the road where him say him live, him not come from here, so him should not be on the list, right? And yada yada yada. So that is typically how the system now counters that the 6 month continuous verification is not being done. Yeah. Then, in addition to the fact that if you continuously vote, so let's say, like for me, I voted in the 2020 election. I voted the last election. Yes. I left Jamaica in 2021. So I voted the last election. And I am intending to vote this election. When I check the list that I am registered to vote on, there is nothing stopping me from voting. The reason for that, I can even vote without an ID. Because once I can say in the black book what is in the information that is in the black book that I gave, and it is accurate and true, and I take a oath, there's nothing stopping me from voting. Nothing.
But something not adding up here with me and this thing here, though. If you leave Jamaica over a year, going 3 years, and your name is still on that voters list, that means that somebody not doing their work.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Mm-hmm.
That's what they're exactly saying, eh?
Yeah, yeah, because.
But you can't. No, we have to understand this. You cannot. Why this is not being enforced? The disenfranchisement that will come. Jamaica has a unique situation because of our diaspora connection. There are Jamaicans who go out of Jamaica but intend to return. If you should enforce this, the voter apathy that we now see will be even way worse, because you'll be automatically disqualifying people from voting, and that is the thought behind it. Because even though, yes, you want to have a perfect system, remember, Americans are allowed to vote if them live how much years out of America. My father was still voting in the US elections. So the fact is simple. Yeah, once them go back, go do them re-verification, they're allowed to vote. So the fact is simple. This law, even though it is not being enforced, it is also advantageous to both political parties in Jamaica and to the political process of voting, because what you cannot do is have a system that disenfranchises people, and that is why it is not fully enforced, because you will have voter apathy.
Mr. Ratterman, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, well, some people are disenfranchised from voting. If you're incarcerated, if you're declared to be mentally incompetent, I'm trying to think of the other situations, but there are certain situations where people, they're not allowed to vote, even if they live in Jamaica. They're not allowed to vote.
So
now, what would be interesting to see if their name still appears on the list. That would be interesting.
A question I have for Conrad O'Brien and Headboy. I think at one point you said a person can vote without an ID. Conrad or Headboy, you there?
Conrad, you want to take this one?
Yes, you can. Yes, indeed. You can vote without an ID. You can vote without ID, and there's 2 points that we need to stress. You can vote without an ID, and as Headboy had basically explained so eloquently, is that what happened, you'd attend up on the poll on the polling station. As a matter of fact, I did that. The last time I voted, I did not have my ID. My ID had expired, didn't have the current ID. When I go there, they basically ask you a few questions, and you swear or you affirm based on your religious belief, and then you also, I think you're also fingerprinted, and you vote, and you go by your merry way. Not a very tedious process at all. Once you decide to, just a sec, Jeff. Just that once you decide to, and I also want to just basically say not something else. And voting, since we're here, a lot of employers, and this is something that is coming to us, certainly coming to me, that a lot of employees are saying to their workers that, listen, we want you to vote a particular way, and we will know when you vote. No gosso, nobody can know who you vote for, because your voting is a private situation. You're not allowed to do open vote in Jamaica. Somebody can assume that you vote a particular way, but to definitely say, listen, you go put the X beside Jeffrey Tavares and I put it beside Wilford Rattigan, they cannot. Basically, there's nothing for them to trace it and to say that is how it was done. And that is a very important point to be made.
What I don't understand, though, I turn up at the polling station on election day. I have no verification of identity to say this is Jeffrey Tavares. And based on what I tell them,
but Jeffrey,
they're going to go ahead and allow me to go and vote?
No, man, it's more nuanced than that.
One second. Let me explain this simply. The process has checks and balances. There's an indoor agent for two parties, and there's an outdoor agent for the two parties. the outdoor agent sees Jeffrey Tavares coming. Me and you live in a Moko. Let's say we live up at Ashley up a Moko. Yes, you don't have your ID, but I, as the indoor agent, know that Jeffrey Tavares is Jeffrey Tavares. And when he come and say me no have my ID, Jeffrey Tavares my name, and the indoor agent says to the presiding officer that Jeffrey, this is Mr. Tavares, ask him question them, black book him so we can get the process going. Remember, the black book contains specific data, specific data that no one would know. There are certain key questions because I was black booked the last election because the IDs were expired. Yeah. So when I black booked, I was asked where was my existing address, who my mother middle name. There are certain things that was asked of you that only you alone could verify.
Yeah, man. And to cap that head boy, you would be fingerprinted.
Absolutely. So
you also be fingerprinted. So there are checks and balances. There are checks and balances. It's not just flippant like that.
Well, Lady J Love has a question here. She said her son is a new voter to be. He has applied for his voter ID. Can he still vote? He applied after the last deadline in March.
No.
Hold on. Sorry. Repeat that, Jeffrey. Repeat that, Ratty.
Yeah, Lady J Love throw a question here in the chat. She says, my son is a new voter to be. He has applied for his voter ID. Can he still vote? He applied after the last deadline in March.
No. If he was already on the voters list, his ID expired, and he applied for the ID, don't get the new ID, then he will be able to vote. But once he's a new registered voter, that is to say he reaches 18, or for some reason he was over 18 but stay away from the process and was not enumerated, and he went in after the list was sent, or that was sent out in May, which was the last cutoff point, he will not be able to. But once his name appear on the voters list before, then you can. And there, for persons who are listening, there's a process that you can go through. You can basically go on the EOJ website and check for your name there. As a matter of fact, it is now so precise, I gather, that it will even show you your PD, the PD that you'll be able to vote in. So let's say you vote at Grove Road at PD 38, then it will show that you're in Grove Road in central Manchester at PD 38, and you will know exactly where your polling station is and all of that. All right. And I just want to clarify just one quick thing again, Ed Boy. What you say, even when somebody is there, invariably someone, especially if you're a regular voter, you are out there. Over time, people get to know you, and especially if you're somewhat active, to people identify, because when there's a situation and somebody turn up. When someone turn up and you see the people who are with the Jamaica Labour Party, if you're voting PNP, you're not going there. You're not going beside the JLP, and that is why you have an exit poll numbers before, so that the celebration can actually start before the close of polling station, because invariably you know exactly how you track your number, because there's that kind of scenario there. So I turn up, head boy is the PNP person there. I go over to head boy and I send a target and send a queue. Basically, they have you as PNP, different from the canvas that they would have already had. So they have their canvas list, your name is on it, and they are looking for you to come. So when Conrad turn up, the PNP now or the JLP are going to tick off and say Conrad is there. So the PNP now will say, all right, we were looking for 200 votes out of this PD. Conrad, come on vote. So we're looking now for 99, for 199.
Let me ask that. Let me just follow up with that. So he applied after the last deadline in March, so he's not going to be on the May list.
No, it's not.
All right. How soon? When would be the last date that he could register and have his name on the mail list?
The last day he had would have been March 31st of this year. Because
Okay.
remember what happened? March 31st. So the election is being called on the May list, the March 31st list.
Okay. All right.
So
All right.
when Andrew announces the election, you can only those who are published on the May 31st list will be able to vote in Jamaica.
Which would have
And,
been
and just for information, head boy, let's just remind persons. I want to be extremely clear across the board. These things doesn't happen in a vacuum, Ratty and Jeffrey. What happened each time when the last day for you to go in to be on the voters list, to be enumerated, it is published in the newspaper and radio and also television at the time. It's taken out to say to people that listen, tomorrow, the 31st of March, is the deadline for you to be enumerated, to be appear on the May 31st or May whatever voters list. And then when that voters list now, when that those information now is collated, as I think Ed Boy alluded to earlier, there is a preliminary list that's sent out, and the EOJ again basically send out a communique advert to say to the political parties that listen, come in, pick up the list and basically look at it, and if there's any discrepancy now, then they will basically do the scratching. So they could see a lot of anomalies there, a lot of voting, and then they will raise those questions, and then the EOJ would basically do whatever. Maybe the scrutineers from both parties would be involved in that, and so on, and the cleaning take place. So as best as possible, they're trying to use this continued registration process to clean the list.
All right, let me do a follow-up question. Marcia Rose says that if he registered in March, he should be on the May 2025 voters list. But Marcia, he said he voted after. So you're right, Marcia. If he registered in March, he should be on the list. But herein lies the question.
Hold on, Ratty. What the person is saying that individual registered in March?
No. The lady said he registered after the deadline in March. But Marcia Bro is saying if he registered in March, then he should be on the list, which is correct. Am I right?
Yes, because the list actually, the last day to register would be the last day in March. So if he register the last day in March, then he would be or should be on the voters list. But as I said before, the mother or the young man can basically do their own verification. Just go on the site, look for the constituency in which they are, and check I think it is listed alphabetically, and they will be able to verify.
I am confused, gentlemen, because the question I saw was saying that he was registered after March.
Hold on, head boy. Mr. Ratty, I was saying something, and then have you come on. Ratty, go ahead.
No, I was saying that Marcia Rowe is right. Marcia is saying if he registered in March, he should be on the 2025 voters list. What the lady said, the lady who posed the question, the original question, she's saying her son registered after the March deadline.
He cannot vote. He will not be on the May 30th. He will be on the November 31st list. November 31st list.
Right.
Yes.
So here's the question.
No. September 30 list, would be published with his name as the prelim, and then he would be officially on the voters list in November. November 30th.
So Lady J Love said he registered in April, so he's not going to be able to vote.
He cannot vote.
All right. So here's a question on that. Here's a question I have. We're all susceptible to making mistakes. Even the best systems at times will fail us. Manual or digital. What if someone, they live rural country, name the parish, and they went in time, they registered, and then they show up on election day, and they're told that your name is not on the list. What's the recourse?
Well, he just can't vote. Just can't vote because people who will have people who can vote at, he could probably, if he has any form of receipts and so on in his person, then basically maybe they could look at that. And I don't know if I can't say there will be a definite situation where at the time they will he could lodge a protest, but I don't know how that will be dealt with.
No, but remember, you know, I have seen this because I might be the youngest here, but I've done quite a lot of elections. Yeah, 2011, 2016, 2020. I have seen instances where the list come down, but it not come down with people name. And we have said to the EOJ in cases in Chapelton, in cases in East Rural St. Andrew and in Northern Clarendon, we have said to them, we know that Wilfred Rattigan registered to vote. We have his pink, so we normally take the slip from them. Yeah. So the slip that the EOJ gives him, we then take that back to the EOJ. We say, no, here is the man's registration. So what tend to happen? They go in the black book there at EOJ, and then they say, oh yes, he in fact was registered to vote. Here is his collection of data. We're going to make the correction and add him to the list with the receipt that he has. Yeah.
Good.
And that happened the same day, on election day. All of that can take place on election day.
No, if on election day, if his name does not come on the list, they will use the black book. If he's not in the black book, he cannot vote. The list don't control election. It's the black book run the election.
So the answer to that. Go ahead.
My thing though, and I go back to this Roper thing again, and I may sound a bit daft to this because there's something in it that is not clicking with me. Where it says that read it again, Mr. Rattigan.
Oh, the chief electoral officer shall every 6 months.
Yes.
All right. So essentially what it's saying, every 6 months, unless the minister issues another period, every 6 months, the chief electoral officer, they're supposed to go out and make sure that they can correct the list and they publish a new list, an updated list.
How often, Mr. O'Brien, has they update the list? I give a new
listen. There was a thing in Jamaica. There is a thing in Jamaica that called a census. Yes. And that is when they would go around and basically do an entire enumeration. We have not had that census done in Jamaica for a long time. It is said that there's a census that is due to come on board to get that cleaning, that wholesale cleaning of the list. And that is when, only then, that you will have that kind of scenario take place where the list will truly be clean. The best scenario now that they're using is the periodic situation where persons goes in and basically deal with that, or the scrutineer from both political parties identify that Tom Stroke or Mary Jane dead and all sort of things.
So my question though, Ratty, remember I'm gonna say I want to come in. My question though is this: if the voters list is not updated, and we're going to this election, don't you think there's some hanky-panky not going on?
No, Jeffrey, 1 second, because I don't want the public to go with the wrong impression. I am very particular when it comes on to elections. The voters list, the May 31st list that was published, all parties had to sign off on that list. If they had objections, they raised them in April before the list was published.
Absolutely, so if the preliminary
and did not object to the list of issues they had, it's up to them. The checks and balances.
Hold on, Conrad.
1 second, Conrad. The checks and balances lie with the scrutineers and lie with the political parties who verify for themselves. So if I say, if the April 30 list came out, the prelim list came out, and them say, tick off who dead, I object to Jeffrey from voting because I know Jeffrey don't live in North Central Clarendon. That when him say him live, him don't live, and I can show proof that him don't live there, he can be disqualified based upon the case you bring before the Electoral Commission. And obviously, Ratty knows, as per Europa, there are committees that is set up to deal with that, particularly at the constituency level and the national level. So no person, and I want it to be clear that the list was verified by both the PNP and JLP in April.
And also, head boy, one must also remember.
Conrad, hold a minute, Conrad. Ratty wanted to say something before I cut him off. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
Yeah, I wanted to. Conrad said that he mentioned the census, saying that would be the vehicle through which they would be able to determine the eligible voters. But I'm reading Section 8, and Section 8, it was amended, and I'm reading you the amended version of Section 8. It says, of ROPA, it says, with a view to the preparation of the official list of electors in a polling division, the Chief Electoral Officer shall have a house-to-house inquiry.
No, man, no. I take that, and I understand because I've read the ROPA myself. But indeed, I agree with you that what I'm just saying to you that what obtains now, and we can say that, listen, we probably need to bring some more burden to bear on
isn't this obtained now?
No, I don't know that. I don't know that that is being carried out right now.
But then then why is it how it then? Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
No, what I'm saying is that, and here's where we have a difference between the law and convention, because the convention is they don't do it. The law says they're supposed to do it. That's
There's also a small point that I want to make, because remember, even though people will, if political party lacks and allow persons to find themselves on the list, those persons who would be on the list, they would be bona fide people. It's not fast people are gonna vote. It's not somebody, because there are method to check that. Listen, you are the person who you say you are. So you have one man, one vote. If political parties now lapse and allow term stroke to be registered in more than one constituency without flagging that person, then that would be too bad. And I don't think that is happening, because I think the EOJ itself also have their checks and balance that they would do to basically go against that. One must also remember that the ECJ, that's the Electoral Advisory Commission, is basically staff with what we're called commissioners, and they're paid very, very handsomely. And four of those commissioners are politicians. Two from the People's National Party and two from the Jamaica Labour Party. The JLP is represented by Tom Tavares Finson and the other gentleman there, what's his name? Not Delano.
No, Andre Franklin.
Andre Franklin. Yeah. On the PNP side, it's Wentworth Skeffrey and the General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell. As a matter of fact, I got some queries a couple of weeks ago on my radio program, and I called Wentworth Skeffrey immediately and raised them. And he said absolutely nothing like that. There is a foolproof system inside there where one may well, let me leave that alone. But persons are looking at another layer that would have to be by way of the electronic system. If there is any flaw there, that could show up within that arena. And also that had asked Wentworth Skeffrey about, and he wasn't so minded that was on the horizon. So let's see.
Yes, I want you. Go ahead, Mr. Rattigan.
Let me ask the panel a question, and by extension, the viewers. We're talking about who can vote and the process of voting, etc. The question I have is, gentlemen and people in the chat, how concerned should we be about voter fraud in this upcoming election?
Honorable Brian?
Well, I'll say this. Based on my inquiry, on persons from who sits on the ECJ, right? They gave me the assurance that they are comfortable that the system is as foolproof as it can be. But as I pull back just now to say that that is a concern by many persons, especially those especially on the opposition side, the PNP side, who asked question about this contract that was basically given to an Israeli company, and they're wondering if anything could be embedded in that based on that company. However, I also put that same question to persons within officialdom within a political party, and I was told that that has nothing to do with the voting process. It has to do with producing the voter's ID. So I don't know if anything could have taken place by way of hanky-panky with producing the ID that could basically show up on election day. However, we had an election in February of 2024, and the PNP, which is the opposition, that would normally have some amount of concern, because the government don't have these concerns, right? Because they basically, in the main, you would say, is in charge of the system. But the opposition basically believed that, it was a fair process that took place in 2011. So I can't, I know there's concern there. For me, as I said, I have to go by what I was told by the persons who sit on the committee, who are paid very, very handsomely and supposed to carry out their jobs.
I want to play a video here.
Hold on. Before I play the video, let's bring in Head Boy. Head Boy,
Yeah.
you have any comments on that?
No, absolutely. I agree with Conrad, but I'll extend what Conrad said a little bit further. In that the safeguards for voter fraud is simple. It starts at the process where we start about the list being compiled and the objections and the removal of the dead people from the list and so forth. So it starts there. So, yeah? It starts there. So when the party them say, me object to Jeffrey being on the list because in saying live up at Ashley and Moko, but live there, come from there. Yeah? And Jeffrey have to prove that him come from there. So the objection starts from before the list is even done. When you come to election day, if you are certain that Wilfred Rattigan is coming to vote in let's say him going a Papine go vote, and so Wilfred Rattigan not supposed to be voting in Papine because him not come from down a Papine. What you do on election day as the indoor agent, you have the power to say, I want to black book him. And no presiding officer can stop you. So Wilfred Rattigan have to go answer the question them in the black book. And I'm suggesting to indoor agents of the opposition, if you doubt the existence of a voter, black book them and they're going to run. Because then can't answer the question.
Sorry, Mr. Rattigan. And there you go, Head Boy. And that is why I am saying I'm offering this advice unsolicited. Right? I am saying that the PNP really and truly need to look, and they should be doing this before. But certain they have a few days to go. They must counter check their indoor and outdoor agents, who are the first and last bastion of protecting the integrity of the system.
Let's two questions. One is because I know the answer, but I need, you gentlemen are well versed in the electoral process in Jamaica, and I want the audience to hear from you. This election this upcoming general election, will it be an electronic vote or will it be a paper vote?
Ed Boy, go ahead. Hello?
Repeat the question, Ratty. Sorry about that.
Yeah, the upcoming election, will it be by paper or will it be by electronic?
No, it cannot be totally electronic, and I'll tell you why. If you have polling station, we're up in a place where electricity not there. If the electricity goes, the electronic voting cannot work. So the electronic voting, the EOJ tested it in some places that because where the electronic system has its disadvantage is that it depends on electricity. Yes, that's one. Two, the paper vote is a preferred option of voting because what it does it allows for one, less issues in terms of risk. Yeah, that's one. Two, we have had a system of checks and balances with the paper vote system for a long time. When a ballot is issued to you, the poll clerk issued the ballot. The presiding officer said to them, please note, ballot 165 has been issued to this voter. The indoor agents of the JLP, the indoor agent of the PNP, write down that ballot number and count it. So with that system, we have had a very good check and balance with that, because why is on the counting night, if a ballot appears that the indoor agent can say, no, these were the ballots that were issued. Where did this ballot come from? Yeah, because both the poll clerk should also be noting the ballot that's been issued. Yes, and those books are official books. So the parties tend to give their workers books to write the ballots that have been issued so far. So it might not be perfect, but it creates a little check and balance there.
Let me just
My understanding, Ratty, sorry, my understanding, Ratty, is that in the main, it will be paper ballot. I think you may have, little pockets of electronic voting, but I think in the main, it will be paper based.
All right. I was told by somebody in the know that this election will be by paper ballot. They said it's not electronic. This one will be by paper. And the discussion centered around providing security for the ballot boxes to be transported from the centers to EOJ so that they can be counted. They said, we're looking to see what the security posture is like, because that's where the problem is going to be, moving the ballot. Ballot boxes disappear. Let me ask you one more question, and I'll just sit back and listen to the conversation.
Don't move from there, Ratty. Don't move from there. Stay with that, because again, one of the things that we have to understand, there is a checks and balance to deal with that. The ballot boxes is transported by a member of the People's National Party and a member of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I'm using those two parties because in the main they are what. But if you should have another third party or so, then they would also be afforded the same facility. So unless you have corrupt processes within that system, then that's how it would be. And also what happened is that going to the polling station, going to the counting station, there is always persons from both political parties who will be driving behind the main vehicle that is taking the ballot to the counting center. That is to say that it appear in safe custody. You understand? That's my understanding.
My question. My question to you. Have you a question, Mr. Artigan?
Last question. I live in Negril. I registered in Negril. Enumerated everything in Negril. And just before the election, I moved to Moran. Where do I vote?
Go back to Negril.
Negril.
Have to go back to Negril to vote.
the only persons who are allowed to vote outside of their place within their geographical or residential space are the security forces. That is to say, the police and so on. So the police would be have specific voting centers. They don't vote at say the polling booth in their community, but you would have specific location that security officers voted.
Yeah,
but
they
for us,
call it the EPDM, election day workers, military and police, and I think there's another one in relation to the D. I forget what the D is for, but it's for election day workers, police, and yes, election day workers, police, and military. And so they and this would include the 1 day police, right? This would include the poll clerks. This would include the indoor agents that are registered. Yeah, they could do their voting first. I need to double check. Help me again, Conrad. Was the indoor agents would vote in this, or would they vote before? They would be allowed to vote early.
The vote before the security forces.
Mm-hmm.
My question, though, Mr. Rattigan,
can you vote in a polling division where you're not a resident?
No.
A polling division that you're not a resident?
Yeah. I don't understand the question.
The polling division that you're not a resident.
In other words, it's a polling division in Negril, and I'm not from Negril.
No, you couldn't vote. The polling division, for example, let's use Central Manchester, and there's 100 polling division in Central Manchester. You're normally placed to the closest polling division to your resident. You know.
Let me refine the question. If your name appears on the list, but you're not a resident on the day of election, can you vote?
Yes, man. Yes, you can. Yes.
Once your name is on the list, there's nothing that prevents you. Nothing.
You can. So you're saying that, let's say somebody is registered in Manchester, but the person live in Kingston. Can you vote on election day? Of course. All you have to do is just basically go down. That is why a part of the process is that political party also in their budget also put funding in there and identify their voter. So a voter may be in Negril, but that person vote is in Christiana. They make arrangement to say, all right, we will pay you a fare from Negril to come to Manchester in order to poll your vote, because your vote is important.
No, I never know that. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, man, because sometimes what happens, is that the person basically home is home, but then sometimes because of occupational duties or whatever work, it takes that person outside of the constituency, or the person may recently change their home address, but they would have already been on the voters list in that area. So all you have to do is basically just come to where your vote was and your vote is and your vote.
My question is this though. Spoiled ballots. How do you explain to your voters to make sure that the ballots are not spoiled?
Well, the most important thing is to with spoiled ballots, and we have had many elections in Jamaica that were determined by the amount of spoiled ballots that were have the validity of those spoiled ballots are to be determined. The reality of it is, in the representation of the People's Act, the intention is when they determine what the rule is, that the intention is if the voter mark a X, let's say they mark the X closest to the bell or closest to the head, wherever, right? Or the
intention.
What Roper looks at is the intention. So sometimes people say, but if you mark outside of the box, the ballot is disqualified. Not totally true. Not totally true. You could even put a circle if you want. There, you could even put a square if you want. You could even put a middle finger if you want. I'm just being extreme here, but I'm just saying from Roper, what really they are trying to determine is to determine what is the intent of the voter. So if you are the closer, so we say to people, make sure when you're marking your ballot, you neatly mark your X in the intention area. Look, have your candidate at the choice, and you mark. Don't go outside the boundaries and the margins of the box. Yeah.
Good. So to avoid against a spoiled ballot, what we would say is that for persons who may have challenge in making an X, basically start practicing how you make an X. And for those of you who may know someone who may have challenge, take a little time out and show them how you mark an X. Because what happened, a lot of people basically get carried away and say, X is easy, man. But remember that an X is also a letter of the alphabet. And just as somebody may have a difficulty in making an A, they could very well have a difficulty in making an X as well. So my advice is to people to say, don't take it for granted that everybody can make an X. Show the person that you make an X, and as Ed Boy says, stay within the box. Stay within the box. So, stay within the box and ensure that your X is there. Because really and truly, the intention, as Ed Boy says, is very, very important. Because many of attorneys that I know who have gone into the court, that's where they win case on. The one case, and basically using the intention of the voter.
Mm-hmm. All right. I want to play a video here with the Director of Election, Mr. Glasspole Brown, in an interview with the Jamaica Gleaner. I want you to listen to this.
No, 1 second, Jeffrey, before you go. 1 second. There's a question in the chat. Somebody named Omar Mackenzie said, I moved my vote in March, but they didn't confirm me at the new place at yet. Oh, so he must ask if he could vote. No, my friend, because the fact that you transferred your vote,
No, man, he can. No, he can vote. He can vote. What he will have to do, he can vote, but he will vote at his original
location. Yes, I know. I was referring that he couldn't vote at the new location he transferred to.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, he can't vote on the new location unless the transfer. Because one thing that they have to do for the transfer process to be complete is that they have to come and re-verify you at your new place of address. So you have to go where your vote was before, my friend, and cast your vote there.
And this is where Ratty, this is where the 6 months you refer to now would come in, because funny enough, on transfer votes, the EOJ practice the 6 months thing. So if I were to transfer my vote, because like my vote is in Clarendon. When I registered to vote, I was living in Clarendon at the time. I was working in Clarendon, and that's where I lived. That was where I was resident. No, my residence now is in St. Mary. There is nothing that prevents me, right? If I were to transfer, there's nothing that would prevent me not to vote in the elections in Clarendon. And then when the 6 months period come now, I would officially be on the list, and that would be the November list if I were to transfer, that I would fall on for St. Mary, which is actually
absolutely.
So it is an easy. This is an easy process, but the 6 months rule, Ratty, them only follow it for transfer. That's it.
Gentlemen, I want to play this video here now with it's a Gleaner report with Glasspole Brown, the Director of Election, on Sunday of last Sunday. It was yesterday. I want you to listen to this.
I am Glasspole Brown, the Director of Elections, and I've been the Director of Elections since 2018.
Who is eligible to be nominated as a candidate?
As long as you are Jamaican, you are 21 years and over, or you could be a Commonwealth citizen for you to be able to be nominated. And also, you'd have to be nominated by 10 electors within the constituencies. And there are some other administrative things that you have to complete. So certainly complete the application form, the fees, etc.
So can a convicted felon be nominated?
No, I think the rope up prevents that from happening.
Are there any other preventions that you can name like that one?
You can't be a foreigner. You can't be you have to be a Jamaican. As I said earlier on, that and you have to be 21 and over. You can't be insane.
Legally insane. Legally insane.
Yeah, legally insane. Yeah, legally insane. Yeah. So therefore, those are the main criteria that is used.
Oh. So Mike, well, he's not convicted of anything, so I can ask that question. Gentlemen, Mr. Rattigan, I see you looking at something there. Come on, talk to us about it.
No. He said
because Glasspole was wrong.
Glasspole
was wrong. He said 21.
1 and it's 18.
Yeah, and it's 8. No, he was wasn't he referring to running in an election?
No.
Yeah, man. No, man, he talk about being a candidate.
Right, he was referring to candidate. But where he's wrong, you can be a Commonwealth citizen and run as a candidate. Nothing prevents
Yeah, man, he said that. That was said.
No, he said you have to be a Jamaican. He did not say
no,
that.
Man, no. He went on to talk about it. No, he went on.
Again. Jeffrey, play it again.
Huh?
Yes, let's play it again.
But remember also...
I'm Glasspole Brown, the Director of Elections, and I've been the Director of Elections since 2018.
Who is eligible to be nominated as a candidate?
As long as you're a Jamaican, you're 21 years and over, or you could be a Commonwealth citizen for you to be able to be nominated. And also, you'd have to be nominated by 10 electors within the constituencies. And there are some other administrative things that you have to complete. So certainly complete the application form, the fees, etc.
So can a convicted felon be nominated?
No, I think the rope up prevents that from happening.
Are there any other preventions that you can name like that one?
You can't be a foreigner. You can't be you have to be a Jamaican. As I said earlier on, that and you have to be 21 and over. You can't be insane.
Legally insane. Legally insane.
Yeah, legally insane. Yeah, legally insane. Yeah. So therefore, those are the main criteria that is used.
I'm not hearing anything, I don't know if the listeners hearing it.
You heard it,
No, I heard it. I heard it now. And I'm saying to you, he's confusing himself.
Yes, because you have to be. He didn't speak about Commonwealth citizens either.
No, he spoke about it, but he said you can't be a foreigner. But a Commonwealth citizen is a foreigner.
Yes.
A Commonwealth citizen is a foreigner. So what is Glasspole going? That is the point I was trying to raise. What is he saying?
No, but hold on, gentlemen. In the strictest sense of what he's saying, a Commonwealth citizen for this purpose would not be considered a foreigner in that sense, right? It would be the foreigner based on the law that govern the electoral process as it relates to a candidate is you being a citizen outside of the Commonwealth, i.e. a United States citizen of Venezuela. Hold on, please allow me, right? To be, for example, a Venezuelan or so on, because that is the reason why you can sit in the Jamaican Parliament as a British citizen, a Canadian citizen, so you're not considered as a foreigner in that sense. That's how the law is read.
But that's what Brown said a while ago. That's not what the Director of Election said.
He confused because remember the Conrad, he said, one second. Let me repeat what he said. He said that if you are a foreigner in the last part, and I'm saying to you, yes, I agree with Conrad that from the perspective of the law in relation to Commonwealth citizens, but I am telling you that in relation to sitting in the house, right? He said that the person was if you're a foreigner, if you can't sit in those, but a man who come from India, that was a Commonwealth country. India is a Commonwealth country. You are telling me an Indian citizen could come to Jamaica tomorrow morning and just run in the Jamaican elections?
No. So he did not qualify. He did not qualify the time. It is because there's supposed to be a qualification of the time that the person has to ordinarily, as we discussed earlier, ordinarily reside here for a year.
Even the 1 year
I
resident.
was at a disadvantage. I didn't hear that part, so I don't know. I was actually referring to the foreigner part of it.
I think Director of Election Glasspole is confusing himself and everybody else. Mr. Rattinger?
No, I was going to ask a question before Edward explained. I was going to ask a question. If you're a Commonwealth citizen and you haven't spent 12 months in Jamaica, are you? Are you? No, the question is not that you can. Are you considered a foreigner?
If you don't spend 12 months,
yeah,
of course you'll be considered a foreigner. Of course, yes.
Hold on. And now, if you spend 13 months, who are you? Are you still a foreigner?
No, you wouldn't be considered a foreigner. No, hold on, gentlemen. We are talking within a particular context. Context in terms of your qualification to run as in the election. You would not be considered as a foreigner because you would have basically qualified now by way of putting in that 12 to 13 months. So in the widest sense, persons would look at you and say, even though Ratty, you come to Jamaica, people refer to you as foreigner. So in that case now, people will say you're foreigner. But for the purpose of this now, for your eligibility to run as a candidate, you would not be considered a foreigner. In my view, really.
And I'm saying, in my view, gentlemen, based upon what I know in terms of ROPA, a foreign, after 1 year of residence in Jamaica, and let's look at convention, let's just look at practice. We are referring to law, but as Ratty said, there's law and there's convention. Yeah? The convention, the practice of this is that Commonwealth citizens are still considered, according to ROPA, yes, they can vote, but they're still considered foreigners.
Okay, all right.
They're still considered foreigners in Jamaica. That is why, let's bring up the Sugar Shane case. When Sugar Shane Alexis ran for the PNP in Anata Bay, Sugar Shane Alexis grew up Jamaica, he lived in Jamaica all his life, but he never took a Jamaican passport. He had a Canadian passport. And when he ran, why they could not do him anything and why they could not say he was a foreigner, because he had elapsed more than the time that was required for him to even be a naturalized Jamaican. So there's a difference with naturalized Commonwealth citizens, naturalized Commonwealth citizens running in an election after becoming Jamaican. But I'm telling you, no man can walk come in Jamaica after 13 months and running an election. None. It has never been practiced. The convention will not allow it.
No head boy. Go ahead, Connor.
No, I'm saying to you, I would not go down the road with Ed Boy to say none can. I would say that we have not had any so far, because one of the things, it would almost be an exercise in futility, because when a person come and you're there for 12 months, right? Unless you just want to come and say, boy, you go on ballot. But I mean, which one of the party? Which party that worth its salt is going to take somebody out of the blue who just come here for 13 months and say, boy, you're going to run on my ticket? I don't think any will do that. If a person might come here and say, listen, all right, boy, may I test this thing independently and go run a division, run a constituency or division, you might have that in the future, because people tend to see Jamaica as a sample place. So somebody might come and test it, but
gentlemen,
I don't see.
Let me make it. Let me say, we can simplify it. Conrad, if you're a Commonwealth citizen and you've spent 12 months or more in Jamaica,
yeah, man.
Are you a citizen of Jamaica?
No, you are not a citizen of Jamaica. You are a citizen of the Commonwealth. You're a Commonwealth citizen. However, remember that we're talking within a particular context, gentlemen. We are saying that, listen, we're talking about eligibility. Certain, that's what I'm talking about. It's eligibility I'm talking about. And our law, our things say, our constitution said that you can be a part of the process once you ordinarily reside in Jamaica for 12 months and more. And you read earlier, Ratty, what that mean to be a citizen or to be a resident that is ordinarily resided in Jamaica for 12 months and more. As to whether or not we will see just that happen where somebody is a Canadian, born and bred Canadian, no have no roots, no nothing, and come to Jamaica for just there for 6 months and then run. I don't think we will probably we'll see that. But that's what the rule said.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making, I'm trying to draw a distinction between citizen and a foreigner. And I'm saying if you are in Jamaica as a Commonwealth citizen, past 12 months, and you haven't petitioned the appropriate agency in Jamaica to become a citizen, then you're a foreigner. Whether you run in the election or not, you're a foreigner.
Yeah, man. Man. But what Ratty, with respect, is two different things we're talking about. We're talking about as it relates to you offering yourself, right? You're not considered as a foreigner or a stranger, as they like to put it, a stranger to basically participate in the process. That's the point I'm making. I agree. Sorry, I agree with you wholeheartedly that person would still be considered as a foreigner outside of the ambit of basically being qualified to run in the election.
My stupid question to you then: what is the difference between a foreigner?
Yeah, somebody. Yeah. Tom just asked the question. A citizen. A citizen. You ask me what is a citizen? And if you're talking about citizen of Jamaica, you become a citizen of Jamaica through birth, through marriage
or naturalization,
descent. You can get it through your grandparents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is naturalized, as he was saying that if you're a Commonwealth citizen and then you're in Jamaica for more than a year, then you can register to become a citizen. And that's how you become a citizen. And a citizen have a greater rights than a foreigner, because that's logical. That goes without saying.
But my friend Willie, my friend Mr. Rattigan, are we talking about the rights and so on that a citizen will have, or we're talking about the eligibility for someone to offer themselves as a candidate? I think that's what we're talking about, the eligibility.
Well, let me answer. What I'm saying to you is that the Jamaican laws afford for a foreigner to run in the election. That's all I'm saying.
All right, fine, cool, okay, all right.
Chris, who's the head of state for Jamaica? The head of state of Jamaica is King Charles.
Okay.
Gentlemen, we gotta run. Getting a wrap-up signal is now 9:29. Mr. Rattigan, we have some more stuff to do. 9:26 rather, yes.
I go blind.
No man, him when have a kind of dyslexia. When him see 9, him think a 6, and when him see 6, him think a 9.
I want to sleep.
All right. The only person I know behaves that way, is Anne Marie. I mean, oh Lord, let me.
It's dead man behave that way. We're gonna go around the table. Mr. I'm gonna start with you first.
Yes. Let me just say to my Jamaican people at home and abroad that we want you to become, if you're not yet, we want you to become informed voters. We want you to look at what has taken place in 2016. Look at the promises. Look at the delivery. or lack thereof of those promises. And we want you to think critically about issues affecting you, your family, your community, and by extension, Jamaica. Go inside that booth knowing that you're voting for the future of Jamaica, your children, your grandchildren, but you're also voting for you. Vote your conscience. The facts are abundantly clear. People have said to me, why not just come out and tell the people who to vote for? And I'm gonna tell you who to vote for, or what to vote for, or vote against. Vote against corruption. Vote against corruption and you'll be doing the right thing. All I can say to you. And by the way, next week, starting next week, I don't know if Jeffrey made the announcement, but he did. You did? You did.
Sorry, I did not. Go ahead.
Oh, starting next week, because this time is so critical. What we're planning to do is to look at issues affecting Jamaicans, but not issues in isolation. We're going to be selecting ministries. We plan to look at every ministry and the office of the Prime Minister as well. We plan to look at everything that's gone on in that ministry since 2016, how you've benefited or you've not benefited. And part of this is to educate you, because, or not so, in some instances, not to educate you, it's to remind you, because so many things have happened that we tend to forget. It's to remind you what has taken place and to have you look at what is taking place and what is likely to take place past election. So stay tuned for that. You'll hear more about that on my program this Wednesday. By the way, Come Reason with Rattigan will be this Wednesday. This Wednesday we'll be starting at 7 p.m. New York time. We usually start at 8:30. Time is paramount in importance, and so what we're doing is we're going back to 7 o'clock because we want to start early, and we'll see where we end up. So I just want to say thank you for having me, Jeffrey. It's been a pleasure. I learned a lot listening to these gentlemen, and also, taking questions from the chat. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Tomorrow night I'll be on Mystic Sensation. Tune in for that as well, folks. Thanks.
Yes. Mr. Conrad O'Brien, the fireman.
All right. Hi. Yes, thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks. Last week, Thursday, I had Deacon Peter Espute as my guest. And he said that he likened Jamaica, he likened the two political parties as two evils. And he said that he was imploring Christian voters to go out and vote, cast their vote, participate in the democracy, because he likened this to say that voting or a part of participating in the democracy is a part of your Christian duty. He said that you should vote for the less of the two evils. And he enumerated a number of things that would certainly make the Jamaica Labour Party the greater of the two evils. So by virtue of reason of deduction, he's saying that Christians should go out and cast their vote for the People's National Party. The less of the two evils, in his opinion. There's something that I also want to put on the table. One would remember some time ago, it makes the news, and some of us were quite outraged. A gentleman said to go on the Governor General's property, which is our property, and pick 3 acres, they said, and he was taken off to the courts, right? Granted, he was probably tried and found guilty. However, the person who is Prime Minister in Jamaica now, he has not been tried and found guilty. But the allegation surrounding not the office, but the individual that holds that office Examine yourself, examine it, and ask yourself, is such an individual fit for purpose to continue to be Prime Minister of Jamaica or even to be placed on the ballot? I want to close finally by saying to our people two things. One, as we have enumerated, you can cast your vote without your ID, without you having a voter's ID. So go on out to the polling station, whether you have a voter's ID or not. The mechanism are in place for you to vote. The second thing that I want to say to people, remember now that nobody can identify who you vote for. So you may be working with someone who support in the private sector, and these people saying that, listen, I want you to go out and vote green. Deny them. They have no way of knowing where you vote. Say yes, boss, and thing, but go in front of that behind that polling booth screen and cast your vote. $16,000 now as minimum wage cannot purchase what 6,000 could purchase in 2016. Examine your life, or you're better off now. I rest my case. Like Ratigan says, I learned a lot here this evening, and it was a pleasure. Thanks a lot for inviting me, Jeffrey. God bless you, and the listeners and viewers.
I want to say, head boy, go ahead for me.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for your views, Ratigan. Thank you for your views as well, Conrad. I want to say to the listeners that all of us here tonight learned something from each other, especially in relation to the point that Ratigan raised. Because to be honest, had Ratigan not raised it, I would not have even remembered that the re-verification should in fact happen every 6 months, but it is not being. But it is not being done. What is happening now? The party is just doing the multiple, going by the list, check the mail list, check the November list, and make sure that whatever entails the dead persons are removed and so forth. But what I want to speak specifically to the diaspora, and I want to say to them that you can come home and you can vote, and you now have, like what entails in the Eastern Caribbean, which is a Commonwealth country, by the way, which can disenfranchise them citizens from voting, right? There is a discussion in Antigua, in St. Kitts, in Grenada, in St. Lucia, in Dominica about foreigners coming, about people from the country coming back home, especially from the United States. Ratty, when I went flight in Dominica, the man will pay for like 10, 15 plane. Just to fly back home, their people to vote, right? Because the law permits it, similar, and we have the same Commonwealth law, yeah. So I am urging the diasporans, particularly those in Canada, the UK, United States, and in the wider Caribbean, come home and vote. Once your name is on the list, check the EOJ website, and if your name is on the list, you don't need no ideas. Conrad O'Brien said, come. Just remember the information you gave them in the black book. Please remember your black book information. And I say to the indoor agents, if no strange looking man come in our place, I want to like it. Black book them. Black book them. Use the black book. The indoor agents must use the black book. When in doubt, black book. All the best. Thank you very much for having me, Jeffrey, Ratigan, and of course, Conrad O'Brien.
Bless you. All right, take care.
Hold on. Miss P, go ahead.
Good night. Good night,
Miss P.
I reached late, but from morning, they are work and to me can't chat too much. Me click on cliff views and Mr. O'Brien, Ed Boy, Mr. Ratty, and Mr. Tavares, and when I chat. You know, say cliff views are big mama. Sick, drunk stomach. Honestly. The man talks so something to them. But I tell you, Chano. And you know what hurt me? The more them talk things about Mark Jefferson Golden, and the more people get vexed.
Looks now, me not right figure out election. But what me ask? We know say election carry little banter, little galang and to make it spice up. But he might go too deep, man. He might go too deep and too personal. Mark Jefferson Golden have never done nobody in a Jamaica nothing that is wrong. Mr. Andrew Holness, who is our Prime Minister, we have to respect that, or we don't like him. We have to give him. But Mr. Andrew Holness, you attack and you attack Carly man, but in chaka, and him a fix clothes. You don't have to stop that, man. Stop it. It does not look good, confused, and I don't know what you are singing for. But if you have a conscience in you, and for all of the allegations them that fling out, you should have stepped aside and look even when you're in your bathroom where you're alone in your toilet bowl. Think before you talk. Mark Jefferson Golden have never been a prime minister, and I've never heard nobody him do more good. I don't talk about legacy. Mark Golden's father was a doctor. And if Mark Golden is privileged and lucky to be born with and get inheritance from the family, so be it. And he never done tune with PS and show up and we. But a person who born hungry, poor, and poverty, in take less than 10 years becomes a billionaire. That give it about. And the man is so selfish, he not give with the farmer. Just give us the farmer.
Yes.
And make we win too. Come on for the man. And with that Golden, me know you listen. And if someone else now listen, if you not listen now, somebody will tell you to play the clip. Listen, sir. We are giving you all, or we are do all we can do. But you have it fixed nationwide. Nationwide, you have bring us down just like what the CIA said about Gleaner in the 80s. We are watched, we are learned, we are get educated. You have blood up on your shoulder, confused, we're born and grow at Jamaica. If you have banter, but banter with respect.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Yes,
I am so vexed. And I can't talk about man rich and this. In fact, I'm so little more, man.
All right, Mr. P. Thanks much. This
Jeff, 30 seconds, Jeff.
I can't get 30 seconds. I gotta run. I get a wrap up signal here. I gotta run. I haven't slept in more nearly 24 hours. And I'm being told that I have to go now.
I would have said what I'm saying long ago, but it's all right, fine. No problem.
I want to say thanks to Head Boy, thanks to Mr. O'Brien, thanks to Wilfred Rattigan. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. May God bless our island home, Jamaica land we love. Gotta go, everybody. Have a great night.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.